The afternoon was cold, and as the school bus drove away, the dark cloud of its exhaust drifted heavily behind Ginger Martin, following her up the lane. The snow on the top of her shoes had gradually changed from loose and powdery as she walked to the bus stop to dense and icy now on the return home. It had started to drizzle. Her feet were heavier, as was her mind, for this was a day unlike any other in the last year. A long whine brought her attention from her feet to the road ahead, where her youngest, Oliver, was sinking into the ditch on the Creed side of the lane. He had slipped off the asphalt as he ran home and was being pulled from the hip-deep snow by his older brother Henry. Hip-deep to Oliver, anyway, for he was the smallest in his kindergarten class. Now he was wet, and the whine climbed an octave as he gazed down the road and found his mother's eyes on him. Quickly Henry silenced him, and with a backward glance at Ginger, dragged Oliver whimpering toward the house. Usually, on her days off, she'd drive them to and from school. Now, with finances the way they were, the family had had to choose between spending money on gas, driving on these special days, or keeping the satellite dish for the television. After very little debate, Ginger's 3 children agreed that they would keep the television. Not a surprise. So this morning, just as they were now doing this evening, they had walked to the bus stop. Earlier, they had woken up, eaten breakfast, and headed out the door as if it was any other day of the week that she wasn't there. Like Grandma Osby, whom they lived with, she could have stayed in the house and watched them make their way down the long road to where the school bus picked them up. But somehow that seemed unfair. It was cold. They were cold as they walked to the bus. In commiseration, she slipped into her husband Jesse's work coat and her rubber boots and made the trek with them. At first, there had been a bit of whining in the morning from Oliver because the winter snow was at his knees in places on the road. But no whining had also been part of the agreement. Thus Henry, 10 years old and her eldest, picked Oliver up along the way, just as he was doing now on the way home, where the drifts became a little too deep. The true grace for Oliver this winter had been John Mitchell. The aging farmer came down the road with his tractor every few days, especially after the heaviest snowfall, to clear the asphalt. Ginger was incredibly thankful. Because Mr. Mitchell plowed, she could maneuver her truck down the drive every day without shoveling. Her children could walk to and from the bus without sinking into the fallen snow. There had not been one cold or flu in her house all winter, knock on wood. She shuffled to the right and actually did. She stopped and knocked on the Schaaf's white wooden fence to her right. Then she returned to the slushy road and continued home, trying to count how many dozens of ginger cookies she, Osby, and the kids had made for Mr. Mitchell this winter. He always came when the family was home, and every time she found his tractor slowly making its way up the road, she'd turn the TV off and have her 2 sons comb their hair in the tidy, respectful fashion taught to them by their father. Her daughter Bee would, without a word, head upstairs and return with a blue ribbon. She'd hand it to Grandma Osby, who quickly braided the little girl's dark brown hair and secured the bottom with the ribbon. Then the entire family would don their coats and meet the old man at the top of their drive with a plate of cookies and a cup of hot coffee. As always, Mr. Mitchell ate almost every one. The rest he tucked away in his various pockets, remarking how fluffy and chewy they were, just as he liked them to be. Most of the time he sipped his coffee, pondering why Jessie had pulled up the asphalt on their drive and paved it with gravel. No one really had an answer, and the fact that there was likely to be no answer just made the kids fidget. Ginger usually smiled, shrugging away the comment, the way she'd shrug off an unwanted arm wrapping around her shoulders in condolence. After finishing his snack, Mr. Mitchell returned to his tractor and backed down the gravel drive. Only when he reached the asphalt road